Fellow Gambians, I am Pasamba Jau, and I am recording this video as an appeal to all Gambians, especially those living in the United States, to join us on Friday, September 26th, 2014, in New York City, as we confront Yahya Jammeh for his crimes against the Gambia and the Gambian people. Despite our distance from the Gambia, we have a responsibility to our country and our people. A responsibility to ensure that our Gambia, which is our country, is governed in the interest of the Gambian people. A responsibility to ensure that all Gambians live in liberty, dignity, and prosperity. It was Dr. King who said that there comes a time in a man's life when silence means betrayal. And we believe that all Gambians have a duty and a responsibility not to be silent, especially at this critical time of our country. Every aspect of the Gambian society has been crippled. Economically, Gambians today live in abject poverty. Politically, Gambians have been emasculated. All their rights have been taken away from them. Religiously, the president of the Gambia has taken it upon himself to determine when people should pray. As we speak, we have an imam who is going through a kangaroo court, being charged with leading Muslims to prayers. To us, we find this unacceptable, and as a result, we want to register our disgust to the Jammeh regime and to demonstrate to the whole world that we refuse to stand by and watch as our rights are abrogated, our people live in abject poverty, and our kids, young Gambians, perishing in the Atlantic Ocean because they have lost all hopes, all and total hope of making it in the Gambia, thus leading them to take the back way, which has resulted in the death of so many young people. Now some may dismiss our protests as a result of hatred for Yahya Jammeh, that all we do is just hate Yahya Jammeh. That is false. We do not hate Yahya Jammeh, we hate what Yahya Jammeh does to our country. Some people will dismiss it as unpatriotic. Some people who do not wish peace on the Gambia. That is absolutely false. Because patriotism is why we are fighting and speaking up. Love for peace is why we do not want the carnage that is in that country to continue. Some may ask, why should I protest? I believe that all Gambians, irrespective of what your political affiliation is or your political ideology is, have a reason to protest. If you know a farmer who toils and moils, works hard to farm, only to not find a market for his or her produce, then you have a reason to protest. If you find it unacceptable that a single person would decide in a country who prays and when they should pray, a president who calls himself a Muslim but has no problem arresting an imam for leading Muslims to prayers, you have a reason to protest. If you believe that the treatment that Njoguba, Sabally are getting, the injustices that are being meted out on them is unjust, you have a reason to protest. If you believe that Gambians have a right to live in liberty and dignity, you have a reason to protest. If you believe that Gambians should be given the opportunity to live as dignified Gambians economically, you have a reason to protest, because as we speak, the majority of Gambians live in abject poverty. Most Gambians cannot afford more than 3 square meals. Actually, they cannot even afford 3 square meals a day in the Gambia anymore. If you believe that the execution, the assassination of students, 14 students 14 years ago, with impunity is unjust, you have a reason to protest. If you believe that it is wrong for the government of the Gambia to deny the corpse of a Gambian to be returned back to the Gambia for burial just because the person happened to have been or happened to have had a different view from that of the government, then you have a reason to protest. If you believe that the kidnapping of Gambians, case in point, Ibu Job and Alhaji Mahmoud Sise, is unjust, you definitely have a reason to protest. If you believe that no Gambian who works for the Gambia, especially a Gambian elected and entrusted with an office of responsibility, should not and cannot be richer than the country, then you have a reason to protest, because as we speak, Yahya Jammeh has gathered more wealth than the whole country. If you have a problem with rampant corruption, if you have a problem with flamboyant lifestyle, one where a president of the Gambia who earns $52,000 a year, a month, sorry, $52,000 a month, could afford $3.5 million mansion, $52,000 a month, but has been able to afford and buy a $3.5 million mansion in the United States, then you have a reason to protest. If you have a problem with our healthcare system, the issue that Gambians getting sick cannot even find proper doctors or hospitals or medication, then you have a reason to protest. If you have a problem with our education system, then you have a problem or a reason to protest. What is happening in the Gambia today is absolutely and totally unacceptable. If you think and believe that no Gambian has a right to lord over the people, stay in power endlessly, then you have a reason to protest. If you believe that a government has a responsibility, especially a president, to be answerable to his or her citizens, that a government should not be afraid of the citizens, must be able to open up to the citizens, listen to their concerns, then you have a reason to protest, because the Gambia that we have today, we have a president who does not care about the Gambian people and does not want to sit and talk to Gambians. So we are asking you to join us in this fight to better the Gambia, to fight for your concerns, because every Gambian has a legitimate concern to protest. It is not about Yahya Jammeh. It is bigger than Yahya Jammeh. It is about the freedom of the Gambian people and the salvation of our country. So I appeal to you all to join us in New York on the 26th of September 2014. Thank you very much. Again, I am Pa Samba Jaw. We definitely will win. Thank you.